All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Rumbi Unsend That. And it's Happy Friday. I'm so excited that it's a Friday, guys. So come through. We need to have a chat. Very, very important. What a long day. So, what was happening today on social media? Damn, I feel so embarrassed right now. I feel so embarrassed. I'm talking about President Emerson Mnangagwa. Yo, the desperation that is going on in ZANU-PF is actually shocking. People want to get this legitimacy so badly to a point where the gimmicks aren't adding up. Come through, guys. Okay, I'm seeing Ronald right there. Come through, guys. It's getting so bad, yo. I'm serious and I feel really bad. Man, yeah. President Emerson Mnangagwa's desperation to sanitize the illegitimacy drags SADC to Russia. Wow. I want to know your take, guys. Please comment. But again, once more, respectfully, there's no reason for us to really just gonna waste the time. Everyone come through. It's good to see you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you, the ambassador of peace, life. Good to see Alfred. I'm so glad that you guys are here. So I have to look at what's going on with you guys, but at the same time, I must be looking in the camera. So please just bear with me. Be gentle, be loving, just show some love. Mike, I can see you right there. Man, I'm excited. It's a happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Good to see you. We're gonna have a very serious conversation tonight. Very serious one. Wow. Mhm. Okay, we've Kudza here. Take sure. Shava, good to see you. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh my word. I've got so much love coming from you, y'all. I can see that. So much love. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna start. Now, this way we're gonna start tonight. We're going to start by you know that ANC have opted for GNU, right? Yeah, people were kind of talking about the coalitions, which didn't even work today. They're like, no, we are opting for a GNU. Let's bring all these political parties together and understand why. Because if they would have opted for the DA, that was going to again still causing an uproar in you know how it is with the history of apartheid. If they had opted again for other political parties, there was still going to be a problem with the business sector because the business sector really is more aligning with the Democratic Alliance, which is quite interesting, really quite interesting there. So we want to pursue what's happening in the SADC region because you know from the time that some PF, got hold of the fact that things are no longer the same. The NC have lost the election. There's been a lot of unrest within the camps of the regime. No doubt about that. Do you know, guys, can I tell you, I'm kind of having this separation. It's so thick, honestly, between ZANU-PF as a party and the government. I'm struggling to get hold of the government. I'm just kind of seeing all these gimmicks that is really a political move. And I'm like, where do you draw the line between your work that you need to do as a government of the day and also as a political party? We seem to be seeing more of ZANU-PF than we can see more of the government of the entire Zimbabwe. You know, a government that is there to serve its people. There is quite a number of interesting that is going on right now. So I want to read a tweet that was sent out by Hopo Chingono. Okay, that is regarding the GNU. Before we proceed, because this GNU of South Africa really is one of the reasons why things are not okay in the camps. Now, Hopo Chingono said this is the route that the ANC has taken, a government of national unity, instead of just two or three parties cobbling up an agreement. I commend the ANC for making such a bold and long-term decision, which is in the best interest of South Africa. The formation of a government of national unity is a bold move towards achieving greater stability and unity in the country. By including various political parties rather than relying on just a few, the ANC is hopeful, signaling a commitment to inclusive and collaboration. The success of the government will ultimately depend on the commitment and cooperation of all parties involved. The announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa that every part of the agreement that in process will be transparent should not delinquent politicians from sabotaging the government. South Africa simply cannot afford to fail. The stakes are high, not just for South Africans, but also for African continent as a whole. I truly wish the South African people are the best in the next 5 years. Your country can't afford to fail. Let those who are not interested in progress go to opposition branches and oppose from there. All the best. That is opposition, and I saw quite a lot of messages today. People kind of commenting on this government of national unity, and I know Ramaphosa had to choose that because if he could have aligned with this other side, it was going to cause problems on the other side. So he didn't have a choice except to do it for the South Africans. And guys, what's wrong with them coming together and work for the betterment of this country? There's definitely nothing wrong with that. And I'm super, super excited. Now we're going to move on to SADC. Again, I've told you that South Africa, because it is at the forefront of actually influencing what happens within the ranks of SADC. We are going to be talking about SADC right now. We have seen how there have been contradictions within the space of Zimbabwe. Some are saying SADC is not important. Some are saying, no, let's give it a try. You saw Chamisa is at the front, really pursuing the SADC route. And can I say this, that people don't realize? One of the person who's kind of advising Chamisa, if I'm not mistaken, is Hakainde Hichilema. People don't know that. Hakainde Hichilema advised Nelson Chamisa. You know? So with that being said, and you all know that they are really, they are right now in a position of supporting the fact that there was never a free and fair election in the country. Even though the people are not saying much, but they know that there is a problem in Zimbabwe. There's been problems for decades, So, and I think this time is going to be an interesting one. So, Xavier Kasukwire now. Oh, before we move to Xavier Kasukwire, do you also know that President Emmerson Mnangagwa, in pursuit of trying to sanitize his illegitimacy, he had to speak ill of Zambia today while he was in Russia having a meeting with Putin? That was yesterday. I want you to take a listen to President Emmerson Mnangagwa speaking to Putin. And I'm like, wow. Of all the people, the president is speaking to Putin. He's talking to Putin about Zambia. That's what I want you to take a listen to President Emmerson Mnangagwa and what he said about Zambia. And Hakainde Hichilema is not having it as far as the elections of 2023 are concerned, because he's the one who said he was the leader of the Troika, and he's the one that assigned Dr. Mumba and his team to actually monitor and observe the elections. Different observations, but the one that was really more louder is the SADC report. So let's take a listen to President Emmerson Mnangagwa speaking to Putin, please.
The relations just ended there. And thereafter, both the British and the Americans, they have not looked upon us. They think that we are too much inclined to the East. But we have no apologies at all. We feel we are better. Relations with people also respect us, not the persons who look down upon us. So we are very happy to be here. And we are anxious to actually make our relations more comprehensive and consolidated between ourselves. Yes, we are a very advanced country, but there's a lot that we can learn from you. There's a lot that we can benefit from that relationship. And there's a lot that we can open for the Russian Federation to participate in our economy, especially in the mining sector, in agriculture.
The mining sector.
There's a lot that we can afford for you to participate. And in that process, the West will run away. You see, the West have just begun consolidating their power in Zambia, our next neighbor. There was a time when Zambia and Zimbabwe won. It was called the Northern and Southern Rhodesia. It was won by the British, but they were now separate. And the Americans are consolidating their power in that country, both in terms of security and in terms of financial support to Zambia, to make sure that we feel lonely. But that will not change us, because we have taken a course which, as a people, that we feel we want to be independent and we choose our friends ourselves. And besides, we are independent today because most of us in the leadership trained here during our war of liberation. We got our independence because we were supported by yourselves here, and you don't forget that history, and you stood by us. So, Mr. President, I am happy to be here, and if opportunity avails later on, we will find time to chat and go into more details which areas we must focus in terms of supporting each other And in terms of where we feel we need the external support, more especially in the area of defense and security, as well as food security. In those areas, we need to be supported. The mechanization of agriculture and so on. I'm coming from the West. We have to come here because the West would want to see us down. They support our neighbors, Zambia and Malawi, very heavily. But in spite of that, Zimbabwe's economic growth is the fastest growing economy in the region, in spite of us being isolated by the Americans. So, Your Excellency, I'm very happy to be here.
All right. How many people have heard that Zimbabwe has the fastest, growing economy in Southern Africa? But here's the thing: you're talking about you want assistance in your mind. You talk about having assistance. You don't have food in the country, but at the same time, your economy is the fastest growing in the Southern Africa. I said to myself when I listened to this interview that honestly, the people that are advising the president. I don't know who you are because I don't know. Nobody's really telling us. But whoever you are, please, please. I think you must remember that the president is the president of Zimbabwe, not of ZANU-PF. It's no longer about gimmicks anymore. It's about let's come together, guys, and do well by our country. We do the right thing for Zimbabwe, not for individuals. So I don't know. I don't know when you guys are going to realize how important it is to really focus on doing good for Zimbabwe, not for personal agenda, because some of the things that are being spoken here are not true. And besides being true, there's also an element of talking about Zambia. But what did Zambia do? Is it because you guys are closer? ZANU-PF is very closer to Lungu. Lungu who lost against Hichilema. And you know that there's been a lot after the SEOM report. ZANU-PF, the people like Shinamasem, I remember Rutendo attacking Hichilema. Do you remember that? All right. So now you're going to talk about Zambia, talk about Malawi. And I'm like, to me, guys, this is like, it is embarrassing, but I'm going to read a tweet that was, and let me tell you, the same person Ali once did it last year, immediately after elections, when he spoke that Wikinoshiba was given the tender to actually be able to provide, for ZEC, and people didn't believe him. He sent a tweet again yesterday. I'm going to read it out for you. He said, "Dear Zimbabweans, 2030, you are on your own. ZANU-PF has bought regional SADC news leaders and other African voices with big money, minimum amounts from 100,000 upwards, depending on the position, from ministers to presidents in the region. What must happen now?" And you guys have seen, recently where, Wikinoshibayo is having pictures with the Ugandan president. You saw him again having pictures with the Tanzanian president. We don't know some of the people that he met within the region. And you've seen quite a number of presidents. We know the Botswana president is very close to President Mnangagwa, Masisi. We also know the Mozambican president. Again, the Mozambican story is also, again, another, interesting angle, because they recently had, announced their successor, a 47-year-old, a young man. And now we begin to ask you questions. Why is it that Zimbabwe, there's always going to be drama and drama? But this is what I know. People can only protect you to a certain extent. Sometimes they don't say much, but they know that something is going to happen. And, time will tell. I guess that's why people are not saying anything. They're like, no, we're going to leave you on our own. But we know time will tell who's going to be winning this battle, So if these allegations that people were given man are true, which I cannot deny. I cannot either agree or deny, because based on what I know about ZANU-PF and the issue of using money to buy themselves anything that they want. What do you guys think? Comment in the comment section. What do you guys think about these allegations that ZANU-PF is giving presidents money? He's trying to compromise SADC prior to the summit so that maybe they can support them. This makes me respect Chamisa, because honestly, if SADC didn't have so much strength on the SEOM report, do you think that ZANU-PF would be investing money? If what they're saying today is correct, do you think they would invest such a lot of money just giving people? It's up to you guys to actually decide. So, based on the Putini, interview that President Mnangagwa had, and again, I listened to this message. He said, when you are ideologically bankrupt and your only legitimate and credentials are those of someone who was sent as a Rhodesian spy to hijack the struggle, it is very difficult to stand on principle and be consistent. 1 minute you're talking about a readmission to the Commonwealth, and the second you're saying Americans and British are capturing our neighbors. What a fraud. You hear that? What a fraud. That's a lot. That's a lot. And my heart breaks it. Honestly, guys, do you remember that the United Kingdom is on record confirming that they are the ones who actually sponsor or who pay the money for the Bedbridge border? Almost £500,000. And today, you hear President Mnangagwa saying speaking ill of them. You also remember that even the America is on record. Most of the times they're the ones who actually feed most of our people. Again, President Mnangagwa is bad mouthing them. And I'm just asking myself questions. They are going to hear, they're going to listen to this video. People are sharing it all across social media today. What are they saying about us Zimbabweans? What are they really saying about us Zimbabweans? I'm feeling so embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I'm really, really feeling really embarrassed by what's going on right now in the country. We all know because right now this evening, Brighton was said that people don't realize that why is President Mnangagwa so desperate? Because you saw him, he was in Kenya, you went to Zambia. From Zambia, you went to Korea. From South Korea, now today, he is with Putin again on assignment. But he said he is afraid of Hichilema because he knows that Hichilema is so much standing against this whole saga of his illegitimacy. Hichilema is on position that no, he's not going to have it. So he said speculations are, is ED preempting potential movement from Hichilema on the SEOM report during the forthcoming SADC summit in Harare on what we all know thought that King kicked into the long grass? Why is he prickingly and directing his air at HH when all has seemed quiet these days? Can you hear? Why is he pursuing HH? You should, I mean, the guesses was mine, and I'm asking the same questions. Why is President Mnangagwa attacking HH? Why Zambia and Malawi? Maybe they're the ones who said no. If allegations are true, people who are receiving money, they may have said, please, we don't want to be part and parcel of this. We don't want to stand for what's right. We are about the principle. We are crying for the democracy. And because you're going to hear Yip Chilema talking about democracy, he's adamant that we must promote democracy because we are afraid of having a lot of coups. But what is it that is really the responsibility of the Directorate of Organ and Politics and Defense and Security Affairs, which means the SADC? So their mandate really is written here. I put it on the internet. Is the mandate of the Organ on Politics, Defense and Security is to promote a founding of peace and stability in the SADC region as a prerequisite for the achievement of SADC objectives of socio-economic development, poverty eradication, and regional integration is espoused in the SADC Vision 2015 and the RISDP 2020 to 2030. The directorate covers areas of politics and diplomacy, defense, state security, public security, regional peacekeeping, and police. It is guided by the Protocol on Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation, which claims to promote peace and security in SADC, protect the region's people from instability due to the breakdown of law and order, develop a common foreign policy for the region, and cooperate on matters related to security and defense. Now, Hakainde Hichilema is on record right now. I wanted to listen to him speaking about how they would want democracy to be cemented in Africa because they're tired of coups. Hear him out. Does that sound like someone who's going to entertain all these money-changing allegations that you can hear? That is again on social media today. Do you think it's someone who can buy into the gimmicks? I don't think he's going to buy it. That's maybe one of the reasons why President Mnangagwa is bastardizing him. In Russia. Take a listen, please, about Hichilema.
They must get the support from the government, a functioning government. But that can only happen if the economy is functioning. If the economy is delayed, it's dysfunctional, you deliver nothing for anybody. And I believe democracy allows us to enterprise, yet responsible for and to those that are less privileged, the sick, the old, the orphans. All of us would benefit from a democratic system. And we must sustain democracy on this continent. We've had too much militarism. We've had too much authoritarianism. This generation, your generation, supported by us, We must consolidate democracy on this continent. Zambia is a good example. Even when leaders have attempted to be autocratic, like the one that has exited, the Zambian people rose to say no. You know, there was no democratic space. We couldn't campaign as we wished, but still the people of Zambia said, no, 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 no. We don't want this heavy-handedness. We want a different leadership. We are here. And our duty is to work for the people of Zambia and not let them down. So I say this to other countries, that we must share these common values. We must, just for the sake of humanity, for the sake of decency, for the sake of our children and their children, we need to enhance the democratic culture. Choices without violence. The voters must decide who runs the country, not those who count votes. We saw that in 2015 and 2016, and we planned for it in 2021 to make sure that he or she who counted the votes in 2021 had no chance to alter the decision of the people. And that's why we delivered a landslide, planned, orchestrated, to protect the vote. See, now we're in a position of service to people. Two approaches. One, to reunite the country, which was divided again because of autocratic behavior, marginalization, exclusions. We're working on unity, inclusion, right? Opportunity. That's the beauty of democracy. And I think the global community, Africa and the global community, those of us who believe in these values, must work together to entrench them, to grow them. Two, we're working on the economy. Once we resuscitate the economy, we deal with issues that will challenge us, debt, corruption, the need to focus on trade and investment. Then we can offer, once we grow this, we can offer opportunity. Where I started this conversation, opportunity for our people, education, health, jobs, business. That's it. This is a story. But this is only possible if we retain and grow and protect democracy on our continent.
Honestly, it's going to be difficult. I don't know what Zambia is trying to do. It's not going to work. I'm a person who believes that this summit is going to be very difficult. That's why Zimbabweans need to prepare, to do anything. Okay, so before I move on, if it's your first time to come across this channel, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell so that at least every time we are live, you'll be notified, because we're going to be having very serious conversations now that we are towards the summit. A lot is happening in the background, and we need to start having thorough conversations, bring our minds together. What can we do as the people of Zimbabwe? How can we restore sanity in our society? Because the country at the moment is completely broken. We need to restore, peace, love, unity, and success, because posterity is ours. So I'm really, really asking you guys to make sure that at least we work together. Also, please don't forget to like the live. More than 200 people here, so at least we can push algorithm, inviting everyone to come to the conversation. These days is going to be hot, and please bear with me as we work together. We're going to have a good time. Now, Joseph Kalimbe, he is actually one of the very well committed, a supporter of Hichilema, again from Zambia. He was extremely angry when he got hold of this video, very angry. And this is what he sent out on social media today. He said, in light of the video and provocations on our country by ED, Zambia must, number one, boycott the upcoming SADC summit meeting. I don't think they should boycott, because we desperately want Hichilema there. So sorry, Mr. Joseph. I don't think boycotting is the best thing. I want him to be there so that at least we know we're having men and women of great minds. I also love the woman of Tanzania. I think she's going to stand for what's right. Women, because they're moms, so they don't play. They're not like some men who can easily sell, like what's happening in Zimbabwe, people selling the struggle. It's going to be different. You also said, number two, explore the Zimbabwean ambassador in Lusaka. And again, we don't use emotions when we are communicating, especially from the diplomatic route. We must also considering that President Emerson Mnangagwa is getting younger by day. That's why I really, really blame those that surround him, the people that advise him. Are they giving him the right advice in order for him to at least protect, the dignity and of our people and the unity with other friendly countries? That is really important. Because we also saw recently ZANU-PF attacking DA as well. And I'm like, you don't even know how South Africa functions. You don't just attack people like you do in Zimbabwe. No, there's diplomatic channels that needs to be respected. Also, and you went on to say some foreign elements want to interfere in our 2026 Zambian election because there's an election coming up in Zambia. The word that Zimbabwe wished to send Patrick Chinamasa as a SADC COM head in a political provocation. Patrick has threatened lives of Zambian presidents. Let him not step on a landmine. Lusaka is in Kwekwe. And I also don't think Chinamasa is actually a man of integrity. So please, Chinamasa has to forget about that. He has to forget. He has to forget. And Bendo said that's good because you will just copy and paste Neva's Mumba's report replacing Zim for Zambia. Then we will tell SADC to order a fresh election. One good turn deserves another. Oh my God, that's ZANU-PF supporters right there. And Pierce, he said Chinamasa is on SADC's panel of elders, so wouldn't be able to head the mission. But I get your point. Maybe you will get an aging Didmas Mutasa or another apparatchik, but never forget the SEOM reports are collective, whoever the chair. Remember, it's not just a one person's word, it's a number of people who kind of giving their own opinions based on their observation. So it's not gonna be easy, even if one of his ZANU-PF person really attend the observation. They're not the ones that can kind of making a decision. It's a collective, and most of the important people, they are judges, men of integrity across, SADC. It's not going to be one person. So ZANU-PF, I don't think they have a chance to play those kind of games. All right, so let's look at the comments after the video of President Mnangagwa. So they say he traveled to Russia to beg for money, but instead of focusing on what he went there to do, he started insulting his fellow African president. You sold your brother to cheap to gain favor from the slave master. And you think that slave master would, in return, entrust his life or property on you, so proper to you. This is nothing short of diplomatic slander. African leaders never cease to amaze me. What form of idiocy and lunacy is this? Wow. And Elisha said, I don't know why African leaders like to complain about their problems to people who don't look like them. That's a lot. And I really don't understand why president is on record really saying such, it's, for me, I find it very disturbing. Honestly, I really find it extremely disturbing, especially to us as the people of Zimbabwe. I saw there were a lot of meetings that happened immediately, especially on X, people talking about it. I did not really get to listen to them, to those meetings, but I will find time to listen here. What are some of the Zimbabwean people are saying about the actions of President Emmerson Mnangagwa today, yesterday in Russia? Now moving back home, there's been very, very difficult, past 2 days on X. There was a meeting that happened about 2 days ago. I was there. We only slept around 2 a.m. in the morning. I can tell you how committed Zimbabweans are to resolve the issues in the country. 2 a.m. I had to go to bed 2 a.m. It went for more than 9 hours, that meeting. It was more than 1,000 people attended the meeting, Zimbabweans. Really, we were looking at, Wende, Charlton Wende. We're talking to Mafume. There was Carlton as well, Mateo. The people that are being, accused of selling the Citizen Coalition for Change struggle. And I want you guys, I'm going to release most of those, most of people who really submitted very well there, so you guys can have access to what other people think about the actions of Wende. But Wende, things that he says are shocking, but I want you to listen to what Wende said about SADC. Then I will tell you what I think about Wende's mind. And I'm going to explain to you why people keep on saying they sold the struggle for money. They sold the struggle for money. So Wende was brutal. Take a listen, please.
Delegation, but I'm also chairing public accounts. We met the executive secretary of SADC, because there's an organization called SADCOPAC, which is just an umbrella body of SADC parliaments, the Public Accounts Committee. So Zimbabwe is the Deputy Secretary General. So when I was elected as the PAC chairperson, I assumed also that office. So we went to meet the executive secretary in Botswana. And during the same meeting, I then raised the issue of Zimbabwe to say, look, we are waiting for you in Zimbabwe because we think that according to your report, the election was a sham, it was rigged, and you need to come and help the country to resolve that issue. And they all laughed.
Please let me know if you guys can hear me well. Please, can you let me know if you can hear me, please?
Including the executive secretary. That's the reason why I wrote it on Twitter, so that pressure can be put on him, because the whole country can't wait for that.
Thank you.
That is not coming, you know. And I put it there as a public official. I admit
Blue hearts, please.
It was
Blue
for
hearts,
them,
please.
for SADC to say I was lying, but they laughed and they said, no, honorable, to tell you the truth, that case is closed. We are not coming to Zimbabwe. At that time, they were claiming that they had not even received a letter. And I knew that the Chamisa had written them a letter. But that is the concept which these bodies have for opposition politics. But instead of attacking me, we were supposed to put pressure on SADC, you know? And in June, there's no election. They are busy preparing for SADC meeting summit in August. Roads are being built. Preparations are at advanced stage, and I'm not sure in August, 3 months from now, when Mnangagwa assumes the chairperson, whether it will still be feasible for us to expect SADC come and do a free and fair election. But these are matters that the citizens of this country must. My own opinion was that SADC's position was just to lead the way. They spelled out the irregularities that were in that election. But it was supposed, it's us, Zimbabwean citizens, that are supposed to take that forward and confront our government, confront the regime, and demand a free and fair election. SADC will not come and impose an election. So that's what we are saying. We are not differing with what Advocate Chamisa is saying, that the election was not free and fair. Everyone knows that. I'm sure everyone knows that.
Wow.
Lead to a free and fair election. Do you negotiate and change the laws? Because even now, with these laws, if an election is held today, the same outcome will come out. Do you engage?
You are differing. You are differing with Nelson Chamisa. Who are you differing with? Sorry, I didn't get that. Who are you differing with? Is it with Nelson Chamisa?
Of course, for now we are differing with his suggestion that the whole country must wait for SADC. We are differing with him because he's no longer part of the CCC. He left. He is not a politician, but he is our presidential candidate that participated in the election. You know, as we are leading the CCC that is there, and we think differently, that we can't make the whole country wait for SADC that is not coming. So it's a different strategy.
All right. You did you hear what Wendy said? I want you to tell me if you actually heard Wendy properly. You know, I was expecting Wendy to speak while he's siding on the Citizen Coalition for Change, who is claiming that he is standing for. But when Wendy is speaking, he seems to be speaking more of what President Mnangagwa is doing, or what ZANU-PF is doing, or what they tend to benefit, or that SADC does not work. He does not say, no, we are doing everything in our power. We are working with SADC to see if they can either advise us or maybe bring us together or maybe chairing a dialogue, whatever the case may be. He's focusing on, President Mnangagwa now is going to assume chairmanship. That's what he mentioned. He's also mentioning and said, SADC is not coming. Does that sound like someone who's serious? Definitely not. And I can remember this, the day that he's tweeted. I remember that when he mentioned that, no, there's no fresh election, forget about it. I spoke to someone here, at SADC. You are addressing a nation that is bleeding. And you are tweeting, laughing. Not only did you tweet, I saw him when he was in the court. And Wendy was literally laughing and said, there's no SADC that is coming. Does that sound like someone who is serious about the struggle? Or someone who says, no, my pocket is fat. I know I've got the money that I got and I have to just make sure that I destroy everything because I'm there on an assignment. Are you angry with, or are you disagreeing with Chamisa, or you're disagreeing with the citizens? Because the last time I checked, you came in to be a servant of the citizens, not of Chamisa. But it seems like you are more focused on Chamisa than you can say to the Zimbabweans. What are the Zimbabwean people say? You know, when there is I really worry for these people. I worry for them so much because I'm seeing many who kind of like they are so much out of touch with what people are really going through. Zimbabweans are desperate. Zimbabweans are angry. Zimbabweans have been through a lot. They've been abused for decades. And they want a way out. And this is how you speak as a leader who claimed to be representing the people. That worries me a lot, guys. Tell me what you think about Wende. As far as I'm concerned, Wende is nothing but I want to call him a sellout because I don't want to use that word. But I think I'm looking at him as a man who's not serious. He is not serious about the struggle. He's simply taking everything as a joke. You cannot. Why can't you support Chamisa and say, hey, let's see what happens with the SADC report? What can SADC do as they come for the summit? What can we do to reach out to them? But you can't just say, no, you know, SADC is not coming. And you met someone. SADC is not a person that you met. SADC is the entire body. So are you telling that you were speaking on behalf of almost every head of state in SADC, or it was from your own head and your friends? It's like me meeting a friend on the street and we have a discussion about something and they just kind of, you know, discounting it. And then I come back to the people. I tweet as if I'm talking on behalf. SADC has good protocols. You know, I was waiting for them to say, we are not coming. Did they say we are not coming? They never said it. They never said that they are not coming to Zimbabwe. Did they say so? They simply sent out what their findings and also made it very clear to the government of Zimbabwe that your election did not meet the requirements or did not meet, all these requirements of a free, fair, and credible elections. Something is going on with Wente, Mafume, Washmengube, and all this cabal. But one thing I want to say this to you, Mr. Wende, if you can hear this, is that whatever that's going on in your head, it's not exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen is far, you can't even comprehend it. So relax and chill. Wait and see what's going to be happening in the country. If you're thinking that you're going to hold your positions until 2030, it's in your dreams. You're simply dreaming. That is not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Very soon, something is going to give. The Zimbabwe we want is around the corner, sir. Guys, I just can't wait for a day where all the borders are going to be locked and certain people are going to be going to prison. That's why I said you better not take the money for the political party, sir. And your friends, you better not take that money because that money will go, you'll be locked up for that money. Even if it's 20 rand, it's not your money. You don't have a political party. You are simply individuals who have got your own personal ambitions. Do your thing. If you're running business, please stay away from the political party funds because there will be consequences with your friends. This is just what I'm going to tell you for now. Nothing more. Now talking about the issue of this election, which people are still again having debates and conversations. Again, a lot of conversations are going on around. And I also heard tonight, Hope was addressing the issue of the flawed election. And he is encouraging citizens to say, you guys need to go to the streets. But he also say he has to be part and parcel of going to the streets. Because people were saying to him, whom are you outsourcing the struggle? Whom are you telling to go to the streets? What is your position? Are you also going to go to the streets? And this is what he had to say. I want you to listen to what he said. That is what watching on a place. When people are asking him, what are you going to do, say, are you also going to fight for this, for us to make sure that we have a Zimbabwe that we all want? Take a listen, please, to Mr. Hopo Chingono. Take a listen.
I hope Kuzi understands what I mean by this. I would never go out of my way to disrespect him, and I'm never going to do that. But when you come to a space like the one which we are on right now, and then you argue that elections are not rigged in Zimbabwe because there's no opposition that came out to say that the election results have been changed. It shows that you do not understand the true meaning of the word rigging or what election rigging means. So rigging is not just changing results, it's voter suppression. What ZANU-PF did was rigging in 2023. They made sure that Harare, the capital city with the most voters, would only have 2 voter registration centers for the past 5 years leading to the election. That is election rigging. There was bribery and coercion. People were being given foodstuffs right up to the day of the election. Zek was told and shown the evidence of this. It's shown online. It's there. We posted it. He knows it. He saw it. He defended it. But then now he comes back and he says there was no rigging, manipulation of the voters' roll. That's election rigging. It means that you're manipulating the voters' roll so that your competitor does not know what is on that voters' roll, and you deny him access to that voters' roll. This is not subject to of conjecture or anything. It's fact. It happened, and even ZANU-PF officials themselves accepted it. So you, as a ZANU-PF supporter, I don't understand what you're trying to defend when your own leaders accepted that this is what happened. It kills the debate, because you come and you're an educated person. You shouldn't be debating in this way. And then there are issues that I want to touch of protests. You said I should go and lead the protests. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I could actually go out and lead the protests, but that's not how it works in politics. In politics, we have organizations for that particular reason. It's like saying somebody should have just picked up the gun and fought the Smith regime. Things are organized. You don't just go out there. The opposition, civil society, they've been trying to do these things. People were killed. And then you ask, and you say there was nobody killed. 6 people were killed on the 1st of August. The government of Zimbabwe accepted it. They brought in President Motlanthe to chair a commission to deal with these things. And you say it never happened. How then do we debate honestly if we're denying material facts, which everybody knows and which are not contestable, because even the perpetrator accepts that they did that, and then you say that we have a right, we should exercise it. How has that right been exercised in the past, and how did it pan out? People were killed. Yeah. So when we criticize the opposition, we are not saying that ZANU-PF is right. We're simply saying the opposition must find better tactics to deal with these issues. And then there's a brother who asked me a question about the South African election and saying, why didn't the opposition parties come together and build numbers to go beyond what the ANC has and pick out the ANC? That would be that would be deceitful, because the majority of South Africans that took part in that election voted for the ANC. It's a fact. That's why the ANC has to come up with a coalition, because it has the most votes, 40%. The second biggest party is the DA, followed by MK, and then Julius Malema's EFF. So it's important for us to understand that for a lot of political parties to come together, which didn't have the most votes, like the ANC did, and then form a government, even if it were possible, it will not last, because that's not what the majority of the South Africans voted for. The majority of the South Africans voted for the ANC, followed by the DA, followed by the MK. So personally, I don't like the MK. I don't like what it stands for. But I accept, if you noticed my commentary, I accepted that they've been voted for. They were voted for by 14, 15%. That 14, 15% is important. It means it's a voice to be heard. So my view is that there should be a government of national unity. I talked about this on the 10th of April, and I'm glad that the ANC came up with the same view as well, and idea, and that they want to implement that. Because when you support dips beyond 50, there are certain rights that you lose. And the ANC lost the right to do what it wants. You get that right when you've got 50 plus votes. But if you don't have 50 plus votes, you have to work with everyone else. And I think it was a very strategic move by President Ramaphosa to do what he did with the ANC. Because if he had gone with the DA, he would spend the next 5 years being called a sellout. If he had gone with the MK and EFF alone, you'd spend the next 5 years being accused as the person who authored the demise of South Africa. Because, of course, we know that the investment world, we know that business does not like EFF, they don't like MK. So if you went with MK and EFF without inviting everyone first onto the table, you would have been accused of that. And if you went with the DA, you'd be punished at the polls in 2029. All manner of things. You know, our people accept things that sometimes are not true, propaganda. We have adults in Zimbabwe who accept that Zimbabwe is in a mess because of sanctions, but clever people know that it's not the truth. We have a president who went to Russia and argued in front of the world that Zambia and Malawi are getting preferential treatment from the West, and therefore Russia should support him. This is how we reason as a people, and it will take time for us to evolve. And unfortunately, it won't happen during our lifetime. It will happen with our kids or maybe our grandkids.
No, it will happen.
So it's
It will
important
definitely
for
happen in
us
our
to
lifetime.
understand that the
Soon,
ANC has the
actually.
most votes, and the ANC therefore has a right to come to the table and try and convene everyone else, convene a meeting and bring everyone else and say, this is what we need to do. And I think it's important, I want to re-emphasize this, I think it's important for Zimbabweans to understand that with what we have seen in the past 23 years, it will be foolish to imagine that the world is going to come to us and serve us. We need to save ourselves. And as I've said time and time again for years, the only theater that can be fair is the streets. You're not going to get a ZANU-PF government that is going to accept that it has lost its mandate, let alone accept that it has lost the total vote. What happened in South Africa will never happen in Zimbabwe until Zimbabweans go to the streets. The streets are legal. The streets are constitutional. The streets can only be, we can only go to the streets if we have a solid political leadership that is not afraid of going to jail. The same way that Mnangagwa and Mugabe were not afraid of going to jail. They spent 10 years in prison. Mandela spent 27 years in prison. The current crop of leaders are afraid of that. They are afraid of going to prison, and they've said it publicly and privately. They've said that they don't want people to go to the streets. So until we understand that nothing will change until we go to the streets, we should accept that 2028 or whether it's 2030, ZANU is coming back, 2033, ZANU is coming back. We're waiting for SADC. We're waiting for all these phantom organizations which are self-serving and don't help us as a people. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful right there. But one thing for sure is that ZANU-PF is going very soon. I don't want to be busy sending a wrong signal to people and say ZANU-PF is so much. Hey, I've told you that ZANU-PF is overrated. There's nothing going on there. Look the way they're embarrassing themselves across the world. Is that the people that can survive until 2025? Definitely not. I don't think they're even going to survive. I don't want to be like Wendy. Do you know what Wendy said? What? Wendy said if SADC comes to Zimbabwe and they assist us to have a new election, he's going to resign as a member of parliament. That is on record. So guys, put it out there. That's what Mr. Wendy says. Do you really think that ZANU-PF will survive up to 25 to the end? I don't think so. Don't even talk of 2028, because I'm going to covering what the war vets have said. They said, no, they are preferring Chiwenga over Mnangagwa. It's on record. It's there. Right now they started. I'm going to cover that story tomorrow morning. So the fights within ZANU-PF itself can show how weak this party has become. And I know some people say, no, but you don't know ZANU-PF always going to come together. No. Guys, you should never look in the past. You must look at reality and the facts, and also understanding that seasons are changing. You can't compare 1500s and 2024. Things have changed. Most Zimbabweans have realized that they're being used. And also bear in mind, the right thing. We know that we can put our minds together and do what's right for the country. It's no longer about who wants what, because I'm a person who believes that President Emmerson Mnangagwa, he has got the right to have ambition to 2030. He has the right because you can see him asking people, please lift up your hand and make sure that you at least you recite this mantra, and people do. So he has a right to have ambitions. All these people, and when they've got the right to have ambitions. If by hook and crook, that's what they think works for them, they have the right. But the question is, the majority of Zimbabweans, what do you want for yourselves? So we can lose ourselves because of few people. What is it that makes ZANU-PF to be so stronger? Because even the army too, I can speak to the army right now. Yo, brothers, where you are you happy? Because I remember last time I saw tomatoes. Are you happy? The police across the board, yo, are you happy? Majority of Zimbabweans are suffering. So to think that ZANU-PF will survive with all these gimmicks, I don't buy it. The war vets on the other end are saying, no, we don't want it anymore. Shavangu must be arrested. Do you think all this is just going to settle and we accept being abused again? I don't buy it. I know something is going to give it very soon. Yeah, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel, okay? We'll meet tomorrow early in the morning. I'll be back here. Right, you mustn't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you share with other people. We need to start conversing. Very important, because words are powerful. One of the things that ZANU-PF has done over the years was to silence our people. So we need to counter that silence by having conversations. I've always been telling that there's been a lot of divide and rule. And for you and I, we must unite, because where there is unity, there is power. And ZANU-PF knows it. When we come together, we must put our heads together and make sure that we build the Zimbabwe that we want. Guys, I love you so much, and thank you so much, you guys, for coming through tonight. We're going to be meeting tomorrow morning. We're dealing with very hot stuff. I love you. Don't forget to like the live before you leave, and make sure that at least you subscribe and turn on notification button for the new ones. Until tomorrow, I love you. May God bless you, and may God bless Zimbabwe. So you must sleep tight, and happy weekend to everyone. Bye for now. All right. Okay.